Just about 1 week ago, Tesla officially began deliveries of Tesla Cybertruck, a vehicle that Tesla CEO Elon Musk has claimed is Tesla's best vehicle to date. It's built with a special type of stainless steel that Tesla engineered especially for Cybertruck. It uses Tesla's newest battery cells and 4680 form factor, and it frankly has made some Tesla fans around the world very, very happy indeed. Not that screaming with unbridled ecstatic joy is either unusual for Tesla or indeed certain other types of events for certain types of people, you understand. And while we did give you our 15.25-mile overview of what happened at the event during our News Roundup show last weekend, there were two main camps reacting to our coverage. Those who were upset that we didn't dive deeper, and those who wanted to know our real editorial opinions outside of the News Roundup show. So you've twisted my arm. If you are among the people complaining that we didn't mention some small detail in a roundup show that covers 42 stories in just 25 minutes, you're the reason we're here today. Let's do it. Time for a quick disclaimer before we get into the video. Since we're going to be covering Tesla and by association Elon Musk, it is probably worth noting here that by covering this vehicle, the editorial team is not condoning Elon Musk's recent behaviour outside of Tesla. In fact, we've been very clear about our views on some of the things he said and done outside of Tesla, specifically on X, and we've made a public statement that I'll link to below on why we all think he's currently not the best fit for Tesla. However, given Tesla's position in the marketplace, we would all be completely foolish if we acted like it didn't exist or indeed failed to cover an important launch event like Cybertruck. Additionally, we want to make it clear that the automotive industry as a whole is trending towards ever larger, ever heavier vehicles that promise increased levels of safety and comfort for the occupants, but do very little to make the world outside of the vehicle safer. But again, this isn't just a Tesla problem, it's an industry-wide problem. So with that, to Cybertruck. When it was first unveiled in 2019, Tesla leaned heavily into the whole post-apocalyptic vehicle vibe, complete with costumes that made it look as if the Cybertruck and entourage had just time-travelled from our future, complete with a typographic logo that some on the internet have since claimed has a hidden message in it. At the time of the reveal event, I would have said an alternative universe, as in the evil Star Trek mirror universe, the one with all of the moustaches. Or perhaps another universe from the multiverse, where things haven't gone particularly well for us humans. But honestly, in the last 4 years, I've come to realise that it is us that is in the bad place. And I don't mean the cool one with Ted Danson in it. As for that claimed hidden meaning in the logo, if this is, as we should all assume, a poor design decision, we just can hope that Tesla will change it moving forwards, especially given Elon Musk's recent right-ways political journey. During the original reveal event, Elon Musk said that the Tesla Cybertruck would come in 3 different variants. There was an entry-level model with a promised price tag of $39,900 US. It had a single-motor rear-wheel drivetrain that offered 250 miles, 402 kilometers of range per charge, had a sprint time of under 6.5 seconds, and a towing capacity of 7,500 pounds, 3.4 metric tons. Then there would be a dual-motor all-wheel drive variant with a $49,900 starting price, which would offer 300 miles, 482 kilometers of range, a sub 4.5 second sprint time, and towing capabilities of up to 10,000 pounds or 4.5 metric tons. Finally, there would be a triple motor all-wheel drive range topping variant with a $69,900 price tag, 500 mile, 804 kilometer range, a sub 2.9 second sprint time, and a 14,000 pound, 6.3 metric ton towing capability. All variants, we were told, would be capable of carrying 3,500 pounds, which is 1.5 metric tons, in their bed, or vault, as Tesla preferred to call it, and seat 6 people in the cab. The vault's length, we were told, would be 6.5 feet, just shy of 2 meters in length. The original design for Cybertruck featured Tesla's trademark flush door handles and no physical mirrors, using rear-view cameras instead. And in the time since then, we've seen Cybertruck morph from movie prop to what we have today. And yes, I can feel some people getting frustrated in the comments section, and look, some people still view Cybertruck as a movie prop, but love it or loathe it, it is now officially a production vehicle. Look at the coverage from the time, and one thing that came up again and again was Cybertruck's brutalist design language, how riding in a prototype at the reveal event felt like nothing else on the road, and how Tesla does tend to overshoot its goals. That's exactly what happened between then and now. Well, for some things. Elon Musk originally said Cybertruck would start production in late 2021, and it's now late 2023. He said that the high-end performance variant wouldn't arrive until the other models had been made. But it's actually now the first model to roll off the production line. And when Cybertruck's size came into question and discussion of a redesign came to the fore, Elon Musk said that Cybertruck would absolutely not get any smaller. In fact, in May 2020, he said this. But the Cybertruck we saw on stage on Thursday last week was indeed smaller than the original. A whole 5% smaller, in fact, far larger than Elon's past tweets would suggest was acceptable. It lost its 6th seat to become a 5-seat truck. Its bed became a little smaller, losing 2 inches in length, and its range? That fell too. On its official website, Tesla says that the range-topping Cyberbeast variant, the triple-motor all-wheel drive version, will now have a range of 320 miles, 514 kilometres per charge. It will be capable of towing 11,000 pounds, 4.9 metric tons, and will be capable of carrying 2,500 pounds, 1.1 metric tons in the bed. All for $99,900 US, $30,000 more than Tesla originally promised. There will eventually be more affordable Cybertruck variants, with a dual motor coming at just under $80,000 US, with deliveries due to start sometime next year. It, if you're interested, will travel an additional 20 miles, 32 kilometres further per charge, have the same towing and load carrying capabilities, but have a lower top speed and slower acceleration. The rear-wheel drive version, which Tesla says will have a smaller towing capability of 7,500 pounds, 3.4 metric tons, and an estimated 250 mile, 402 kilometre range, will go on sale sometime in 2025. Its price, according to Tesla's information posted at the Cybertruck event, will be $60,990 US. At this point, it's worth noting that there is a, frankly, massive difference between what Tesla had originally said Cybertruck would offer and what it's actually going to offer, for now at least. The price of the only model you can currently buy, the Beast Mode variant, is substantially more than the high-end model was estimated to be. Its range is substantially less. So what happened? The first thing, of course, is that the pandemic happened. It did push the price of things up, and frankly, we've experienced some pretty gnarly inflation since Cybertruck was first revealed. But whack $69,990 from 2019 into an inflation calculator, and you're left with about $84,230-ish. That's quite the price increase, but not as large as the price increase now on display from Tesla. But then again, Tesla isn't the first automaker to quite badly miss on target pricing. When Ford unveiled the F-150 Lightning in 2021, it promised a price point it ultimately couldn't sustain long term. GM has a whole slew of models it announced during 2021 into 2022 that are now attracting far higher sticker prices than GM originally promised. It would therefore be completely disingenuous for us to just criticise Tesla for this, even though its price changes have turned out to be far larger than many others in the industry. All of that said, though, there are some new features now added that were not mentioned for the original prototype Cybertruck, but more on that in a second. First, I just want to acknowledge how long it took Tesla to come out with Cybertruck. It first unveiled it in late 2019, a few days after Ford unveiled its Mustang Mach-E for the very first time. Since then, the Mustang Mach-E has gone through multiple changes and gained a new variant or two, and Ford has unveiled and been selling its own electric pickup truck, the F-150 Lightning, for nearly a year and a half. GM has come out with its Hummer EV pickup, Hummer SUV EV, and revealed its Chevrolet Silverado EV. Ram has come out with what it says will be the first EV pickup from the brand in the form of the Ram 1500 Revolution. And of course, Rivian has come out with its R1T and R1S, and many of those, I think, have helped lead Tesla to add the features that we've now seen added to Cybertruck. At the top of the list, and something many of you criticised me for not mentioning, was the promise that Cybertruck will offer vehicle-to-home capabilities. Advertised under the PowerShare moniker, Tesla's Home Backup makes it possible for Tesla Cybertruck owners to provide up to 11.5 kilowatts of power to their home with, and this is super important, up to 110 amps of LRA, or locked rotor amps, to start a large mains-powered compressor or pump. Without getting super nerdy, and believe me, this really does excite me, Tesla's system means Cybertruck can handle the instantaneous spike in power that accompanies a well pump, heat pump, or air conditioning compressor kicking on. Given that some systems, including the Ford Home Integration System, don't always like doing this, this is big news. Again, and I don't want to get super nerdy here, since inverters can only produce as much power as is actually required. It is super hard for a system that's off-grid to respond properly to sudden spikes in power demand. In my own home, in order to mitigate that problem, we use standalone UPSs on sensitive things like servers and computers to ensure that if there is a change in voltage, the systems don't just turn off. And we've also installed heat pumps and well pumps that offer AC induction soft start, which helps eliminate those current spikes. Of course, one of the reasons Tesla's Cybertruck is capable of all of this is because in order to use the PowerShare Home Backup, you need to have a Tesla gateway, a Tesla Powerwall, and Tesla Wall connector installed in your home. Some installations may also require a backup switch too, but that depends on how the local utility operates. Given existing Tesla customers are already likely to have a Powerwall, Tesla Gateway, and a Tesla charging station, this is really a smart move on Tesla's part, and if you already have those things, you won't need to spend any extra money on extra hardware other than the Cybertruck, which is very different to the $10,000 additional price you have to pay to get Ford's home integration system working with the F-150 Lightning. At this point, I feel it is important to note that until earlier this year, Elon Musk was very, very anti-vehicle-to-grid or vehicle-to-home or vehicle-to-load, basically joking that it wasn't any good because if you unplugged your vehicle, your lights would go out. In response to that, I want to say if it's the kind of situation where your power is out, you probably don't want to go very far anyway, and if you are in the kind of situation where you're actually being evacuated, I'm gonna guess that dealing with spoiled food from your refrigerator and freezer is the least of your worries. I'm guessing other automakers coming online with their own V2G and V2L systems ultimately convinced Tesla that it was a necessary feature to have. Alongside being able to pull power out of Cybertruck to power your home through the charging infrastructure, there's also power takeoff capabilities in the bed. Unlike the Ford F-150 Lightning, which offers 11 different power sockets split between 10 110-volt outlets and one 240-volt 30-amp circuit, Tesla's Cybertruck offers 4 120-volt outlets as well as one NEMA 14-50. That's a 240-volt 40-amp usable outlet. On paper, you might think that that sounds less versatile than what Ford offers, But it's worth noting again here that Tesla has taken a leaf out of Hyundai Kia's book and also plans to support a vehicle-to-load connector that you can plug into the charging port on Cybertruck to then pull power out of the vehicle. Tesla says on its website that you can pull up to 240 volts at 30 amps, but I couldn't tell exactly how it meters out available power, since 40 amps at 240 volts is 9.6 kilowatts, and that would leave you with just under 2 kilowatts spare to pull from another source on the truck. While Elon Musk has been very cool towards power takeoff for an EV, I am frankly glad to see Tesla's implementation of this, and it makes complete sense. It makes use of hardware that I'm guessing most early adopter Cybertruck owners will already have. So kudos to the engineering team at Tesla for this one, and to whoever convinced Elon Musk to change his mind on the topic. If you do know who that was, please point them in my direction, because we would all love to see Elon Musk change his mind on some other things. Thanks. Interestingly, while the actual delivery event didn't share a whole lot about the Cybertruck other than fawn over how bulletproof and armor-piercing proof the metal is, and as Kate noted when she read this script, quote, "If someone is shooting at you, wouldn't they shoot at the windows?" I don't know, Kate. I don't know. Maybe they're stormtroopers, okay? In addition to firing bullets and arrows at the truck, Tesla also repeated its infamous throw a ball at the window gag from the original reveal event. But I personally think it came across very poorly. Why? The original reveal event used a steel ball, but the recreation last week used a baseball. I know many of you will point out that you think this was all a self-referential gag on Tesla's part, and was in fact hilarious. But one of the purposes of this video is to give you our feedback on the truck and the event, and frankly we all think that it was one of the weakest parts of the reveal. While we're on the subject of just how tough and post-apocalyptic Cybertruck apparently is, we also need to take a moment to discuss the reality of a vehicle made with super tough stainless steel. A vehicle which Elon Musk basically joked on stage about its accident survivability for people not in Cybertruck. The production Cybertruck, while reduced in size from its original prototype, is certainly no larger or smaller than any other of the massive oversized pickup trucks on the roads of the US. But its construction material is far tougher than the steel and aluminium that most trucks on the road use. It's going to make collisions with it far worse for anyone who is not also in a Cybertruck. And given that Tesla has, in the past, allegedly, underline allegedly, had difficulties detecting small children with its full self-driving program, this could be a recipe for disaster. This, like way too many vehicles on the road today, including, I might add, my own Ford F-150 Lightning, is a metaphorical middle finger to the idea that people should walk and cycle more, or indeed to any other road user in a smaller vehicle. And I do get it. Having a vehicle that you can use to save your family in an apocalypse is, I'm sure, a very nice fantasy for some people. But in case you haven't heard, the political temperature of the US right now is frankly warming up faster than the planet, and there's certainly an argument to be made that says we don't need to give people wealthy enough to buy a Cybertruck another excuse to delve further into a them versus us mentality and view people outside of their cocoon as the enemy. Then again, Elon's recent musings on X do reinforce that mindset, but I'm going to stop here before more people unsubscribe. For those still watching, there are a few other notable things from the Cybertruck design that we should mention. The first being steer-by-wire. Drive-by-wire has been around for a really long time in the automotive industry, but steer-by-wire, where you replace a conventional steering column that physically connects to the steering rack of a vehicle with a series of motors that you then control through a series of sensors on a steering wheel, is reasonably new. Toyota, and by association its luxury brand Lexus, introduced steer-by-wire earlier this year in some markets, but it is still very early days for the technology. Obviously it is a bonus for Tesla because autopilot FSD, but it also adds extra things to go wrong with the truck. That steering is also tied in with the four-wheel steering system, which does give Cybertruck a much better turning radius than a Model S. Not that that is particularly difficult in my experience, because Model S feels a bit like a land yacht. And then there's the range extending option. You'll note from the specifications I listed earlier that Tesla's Cybertruck variants do fall pretty short on its original claimed range prediction. So Tesla is planning on offering a range extending battery that can be fitted to the front of the pickup bed to extend the range further. There's not a whole lot of detail on this other than it's reported to take up about 1/3 of the bed, but it's also not a new idea. Rivian has a patent existing for a range extending battery for its R1T, and Ford has also patented various sorts of range extenders for its F-150 Lightning. I should note, however, that unlike Rivian and Ford, if you want a spare wheel for your Cybertruck, you'll have to order one and then you'll need to store it in the bed, just like you do in the Hummer SUV. There's not a dedicated space for one, which, considering the size of Cybertruck wheels, could take up some significant load-based space. But hey, those wheels, combined with Tesla's air suspension, give you up to a massive 17 inches of ground clearance, so pick your battles. Then there's the 48-volt onboard system used for everything that's not a high-voltage component. The auto industry has been steering away from 12-volt and towards 48-volt power for a while now, and Cybertruck is one of the first vehicles to implement this in a production vehicle. Without going too deep, for a given power level, 48 volts is more efficient than 12 volts as it's lower current and higher voltage, and so this switch is a good thing, whatever vehicle it's in. Finally, there's loading capabilities. I didn't notice this from the reveal event, but Jerry from Jerry Rig Everything noted in one of his recent videos that Tesla's launch video for Cybertruck shows the bed being loaded with soil from the side using a pretty large piece of equipment. He commented that a lot of the loaders that small businesses use wouldn't be able to lift their buckets above the side of Cybertruck. I assume the same would be true for many of the smaller loaders that you can rent by the hour or by the day from your local hardware store, so that is certainly something to bear in mind. Now to the final bit. What do I think? Honestly, I think the whole event was pretty underwhelming, especially the terrible lighting of Elon Musk. Other than its looks and ridiculously over-the-top performance, there's frankly nothing new that Cybertruck brings to the party that other EV pickups aren't already offering. Both GM and Ram have their sights set on exceeding the towing capability of Cybertruck, and while Tesla says Cybertruck will eventually charge at up to 350 kilowatts, it's currently stuck at 250 kilowatts because that's the limit for the majority of Tesla's current supercharger hardware, the V3 superchargers. Granted, V4 superchargers are coming, but they're still pretty rare in the US. Tesla is digging deep into the whole robust, rugged nature of the truck, but there's a lot in this vehicle that's high-tech, and that includes the air suspension. If you genuinely want to go off-roading in this truck, I think old-fashioned dampers would probably have been preferable, as they're not only easier to fix on the trail, but less likely to go wrong. As for use as a work truck, stainless steel will dent. It will get damaged on the work site, and I expect any Cybertruck used as a work vehicle to become pretty battle-scarred in pretty short order. And maybe that's the look that people want, but it's also going to be very difficult to fix, and it will make it very interesting when it's time to sell that vehicle on. And if insurance companies look at Cybertruck and decide it's too expensive to repair, that could push premiums up. Unless, of course, you're using Tesla's insurance, which it wants you to. There's also the matter of safety, and I'm going to wait for the crash tests to come in before I comment further on that. But personally, if I'm going to buy a truck, I want to be able to use off-shelf components, buy spares, and then fit them myself if I want to, and also be able to do all of the things that truck owners have been doing for years. Cybertruck will, however, have a very important place in the market, and frankly, if it can get more people plugging in, then I think it's a welcome addition. But as we are fond of pointing out, it's certainly not affordable, and it's certainly not something that the majority of people need or should even consider buying. And given everything that's been going on of late with Elon Musk, it sends a very clear political message that some people may want to think twice before overtly expressing. Thanks for joining me today, and if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them below in our Discord chat room, or you can reach out to us on Mastodon. Thanks to the amazing lists of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of the more than 1,500 people who help fund this channel through Patreon and YouTube. They cover our bills, pay our team, and make sure that we as a channel can remain 100% independent. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just go ahead and follow the links below. There's a range of different tiers you can sign up for, from as little as $1 a month, or if you pay every year, just under $11. A huge welcome to our newest supporters. They are Patreon user 1124, Gordon Smith, Alan Williams, Tim Nicholas, Jalia Hallett, and Nathan Plowman. If you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll find links below to make Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations, and we even have a good old-fashioned PO box you can reach us at. The address is linked to below. And if you're in need of some swag, you'll find our swag store in the down below as well. We've got some great content coming up, so make sure you're subscribed on PeerTube or YouTube. Again, links below, and we hope to see you again soon. We make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you will enjoy this video, but we here at the channel also think that this one is well worth a look. Thanks for watching, see you soon, and as always, keep evolving!